value add. I hear people throw it around like, hey, could you find me value add properties or value add? But what does that really mean, right? That means there's some kind of opportunity there wrong with that property that you can maybe fix. And when you look at that, you need to really understand what that problem is. Let's say the rents are a little bit below market. Why are they below market? Is it because maybe it's an unsophisticated owner and they just don't know what the right rent should be? Maybe they're very friendly with their tenants and so they just give them great deals, or they don't have great management and leasing that doesn't do the right thing for them, or property is set back a little bit off the main road and the visibility is a little bit rough. I love problems that I can fix. But you have to understand what the issue is and where can you really add value to that property and see if you can fix it or not.
Welcome to the Path to Passive podcast, where we talk about building wealth and empowering lifestyle through commercial real estate investing for tech professionals. I always wish that other tech professionals reaching financial freedom had documented their journey along the way, so I'm doing it for the rest of us. Join us as we explore stories, many failures, and lessons learned along the way. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. Aaron Strole, dude, pleased to have you here, man. Yeah, we're founder of Capital Asset Management. You're based in Phoenix, Arizona, and you've got pretty much full service brokerage. We'll dive into that. But what's really cool about your story is that you did consulting, came from a consulting background, you got your MBA to work at, business strategy for lots of companies. And I know this is something that the listeners in the tech professional world here who's listening can definitely much relate to, but you've got to pivot into real estate. And now you have the opportunity to talk to us about all the lessons you learned looking backwards and share some more about what you've been up to from like your full service firm here that you're doing, as well as having the opportunity to be a moderator at RETCon, a real estate tech conference, which is super cool. Big fan. And I'll also go back to your own alma mater to share some of that knowledge there too in Phoenix. Oh, dude, pleased to have you here. Talk a little bit about how would you introduce yourself? What is your background? And then we'll dive deep into what you're doing today.
Well, I appreciate it, Steve. And you hit on some of the background there, which I think is great. And I think for your listeners, probably where I'd start off a little bit is maybe I was like them at one point. I kind of felt like I built this little residential empire, actually buying one house at a time and renting it out. Slowly, someday I'd have 50 homes. And then I could just kick back on the beach. Sure. It didn't quite turn out that way, but it did turn out well for me. But that was because some of my dreams early on, and I actually bought a home with my brother and sold that and did little things. But I realized you need money. I had no idea what I was doing, those kind of things. So I went, as you mentioned, I went and got my master's in business at University of Texas. Great place to be. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then went to IBM and I was doing business strategy. And really thought that was going to be my career, either as a consultant or just in business in general. And I learned a ton from it. I was living in New York at the time for most of that and learned a lot about process improvement, how to use technology to do better business and efficiencies and all those kind of things. But in New York, as you may or may not know, not many people have families there. You don't really grow up, have kids. I mean, I'm living like this. Like my first place was a 480 square foot studio and my TV was my wall. So I moved out to California and then I actually ended up kind of meeting up with an old relationship. And at that point, I got married and came back to Phoenix. So I was out in California for a little bit, came to Phoenix. And that's when the real estate story really happened because I had the genius idea to quit my job at IBM. After many years and just before the Great Recession happened. So I thought, hey, I can just get a job in Phoenix. It's going to be easy. And it wasn't. And my wife that I married was in real estate and she was actually doing lending, but on the residential side, as you might imagine during the Great Recession, that all shut down. Lending would not happen. Right. And so her business shut down. But we were working with a couple of people on the commercial side too, and we started talking to them and listen, they have properties, they're trying to get loans. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with our properties, but you guys seem to know them pretty well. I'm helping out more on the analysis side and stuff. And they said, why don't you guys just manage our properties? And that was kind of the beginning of Capital Asset Management. And I was like, hey, I never thought of myself really going back into real estate, but here's the opportunity, right? So we started up. Shortly after that, we actually worked on one of the largest FDIC portfolios for bankruptcy with the Sorensen's. Great group out of Utah that we still actually partner with now. But we helped them work out some of the loans and also started managing some of their properties, and it grew from there. So we got capital asset management. I oversee actually the property management side. I still work with my wife all the time, and she oversees the leasing side.
Cool.
I don't recommend that to everybody, but it's worked out great for us, just so you know. And so she does leasing, she does some of the development. So we are a full service firm, and we've grown capital asset management from there. And I give a lot of credit actually to my days at IBM, my technology leanings, to understanding how to use technology. If you think about a lot of property management companies and real estate companies, it often starts with a real estate agent or a manager, right? And they're like, hey, I'm good at what I do. I'm going to start my own company.
Sure.
Well, I kind of came about it in a different way of saying, hey, I understand business and I understand technology and processes and all that. I love real estate. How can I make a great real estate company? So I think that's given us an advantage in the market as we've grown. And then it really kind of took off about 5 years ago. So we got up to about 50 properties or so. And then about 5 years ago, we did an acquisition that took us to over 90 properties.
Nice.
We quickly started to get some traction in the marketplace and grew up to like 150 properties. And then we did another 2 acquisitions. We're over 200 properties and 12 million square feet. We do retail, office, industrial. We have a little bit of everything and have great people who work with. And I'd say that's a thing, and I'll wrap it up here, but I love the people I work with. And for anybody who does anything, whether it's investing, business, whatever, find great people to work with. That's the key to life.
I mean, what a story to unpack.
There's a lot there.
You didn't have to rush it all in there, but I appreciate the 2 minutes flat summary, which you're doing
we'll
that.
dive deeper, but I wanted to kind of get through how it all happened. Yes.
It's not a panel, man. You are our star guest here, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind going forward.
Nah, man. That's cool. I mean, from going to California and starting that, meeting your girl and now wife, to be having that going in 2009 to now. What is that, 27 years?
It's been, yeah. So, I moved out to California around 2005, 2006. I got married in 2006.
Got it. Well, there you go. 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
20 years since we've been married. Yeah. And we started the business in 2009. So, I've been doing this for 17 years now.
yeah. And no doubt, right? Taking that from the business perspective and applying it to the business of real estate. When I say business perspective, there's only so many different seats that you need to have to begin with for any business, right? And if I was doing my research correct, you'd worked with folks like Intel and Nissan and Chevron as well, amongst many others. And so to take a look at, all right, what do they need to be successful? What does a value chain look like? Who is our customer? And all that stuff around there too, right? I saw the name of the panel that you spoke on in RETCon, which is Modern Asset Manager, Bridging Strategy, Data, and Operational Excellence. And I'm like, that makes a ton of sense. But there's definitely a bunch of nuggets along the way to what you said as well.
Sure.
And kind of jumping on that opportunity of, hey, you guys, you can manage my commercial properties. What was that like? Was there hesitant, or was it like, screw it, let's do it, let's jump in, figure it out?
Oh, there's lots of hesitancy. Definitely. Yeah. In fact, because at that point, I was really thinking, hey, my career is a little more in business and strategy. And I love strategy, right?
Mhm.
Thinking about how can you make the company better? How can we improve this process? Like kind of big picture stuff.
Yeah.
And being with IBM, everything about strategy with IBM, I correlated to technology too.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, how can we share information better? How can we communicate better?
Totally.
How can we refine that process using technology that brings these two departments together, allows sales and support to talk to developers and share that information. So there's a lot of that kind of like background with IBM. And then so I thought that was what I was going to do the rest of my life, is to figure out these big corporate issues. And so when it came to the real estate, I was like, wait a second. And to give a little further background, my mom was actually with a company called Reef, a couple other companies. She was in property management with her life. And I never thought like, well, that's what my mom did. Never even occurred to me. But when the opportunity came up, she was our first broker.
Wow.
And it started like coming together. I was like, listen, my mom can be our broker and going to teach me how to do this thing. And so at first I was like, wait a second. And everybody's, listen, the money's not in property management. You don't make any money in property management. You make money when you buy and sell properties. But One thing I learned along the way is there is, if you do anything really well, you can make money at it.
Sure.
And you're going to enjoy it too.
Mhm.
So we did dive in and just said, let's go for it. And I was our first property manager. So it was myself, my wife, we had a couple people helping us. We had a broker and then her husband that just said, hey, I'll help wherever you need help. And so I would go out to the properties and I'd meet with landscapers and vendors. And I even went out and we had this during the Great Recession, keep in mind. So we had a property that was just falling apart. Tenants were leaving, everybody's going, the steakhouse closed down. And they're like, well, what's going to happen here? And they're starting to get these odor issues that we're trying to figure out and solve. And I've been a property manager for about 3 months now. And so we're like, hey, we think the grease trap was causing the issue. I don't know if anybody around here knows what a grease trap is. I didn't at the time. I found out. And so we're like, let's clean out the grease trap. And he's, well, meet me first thing in the morning, like 5 a.m. I'm like, listen, I'm not a morning guy. We'll meet out there around 10. It's all going to be good. We start cleaning out that grease trap.
Hot, huh?
Pumping it out. And there's a spa right next to the steakhouse that had been complaining about issues. The second we started cleaning out that grease trap, people just start flowing out of there, coughing, hacking, going crazy. No. And next thing I know, the police are rolling in, fire trucks coming in, everybody's going nuts. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go over and tell them, hey, we're just trying to clean things up, get rid of this odor smell. And the officer's like, sir, you better not go over there. They're really upset right now. So that was kind of my intro in property management. And I realized I needed to hire a property manager quickly after that. And that's what I did. So,
well, that's a business strategy lesson all on its own too, huh?
Yeah, right there. but yeah, so we just jumped in. Honestly, I think we got some of us slow. I mean, we had a nice kickstart, but it's probably about 4 or 5 years before we were really doing well because I knew business, but I didn't know like how to manage real estate and how to make money in real estate, what our clients were looking for and all those things. So it took a while to really get good at that.
Now, when you say you hired a property manager, maybe just kind of baseline this here for the listeners. What does that actually mean? Sure, just read the words property manager, but like just name off some of the things when you're saying it's like management for people probably have a pretty good idea of what that looks like for residential, but just off some of the things you're talking about at a restaurant, right? So, or rather a commercial location, or what is a commercial property manager? What are they doing and kind of what is different, if you will, for the commercial side than a residential side?
Sure.
And my follow-up question to that is, if you hired that, what did you do afterward?
So I figured out I was pretty good at managing people, one thing, but we'll talk a little bit about what a property manager. And I think the thing that I enjoy a little bit more about the commercial side rather than the residential side, right? If it's residential, it's that person's home. They're living there. It's very personal. On the commercial side, it's about business, right? And so that property manager is making sure that, helping make sure that business is successful, working with that tenant. In retail, it's interesting because when you manage a retail center, you're really only managing the exterior. Once that tenant moves in and they have a lease, we do not go inside. That's theirs. If they have a problem with their toilet or something like that, that's their problem. Their kitchen, their area, if it's a restaurant or whatever their business is, that's their business. We manage the landscaping. We do the roof still. We may, in some cases, do HVAC, may not, most of the time, probably not. But lights, parking lots, painting, anything outside the building. So that's one of the big differences in commercial. And you're working with business people. So you're not working with just like individuals or families. You're working with business people and everybody's there to help. How can we be successful in business, both for our clients and it's a successful investment, and for their businesses to be successful as well, because that's the key to the property working, is those businesses doing well.
Totally.
So we're all kind of geared towards that focus.
I would imagine it feels more comfortable for you too, because it's a more, if you will, like you're saying, business, but professional environment, right? Versus dealing with the homes, or even if it's an investor's, maybe 1 or 2 homes that's being managed as an example. But it's a professional environment. You get to apply all the skills, bigger numbers, you can spend more. Professional environment, right?
That's definitely true. And that was a little more my comfort zone. And we expanded quite a bit into office as well. In office, you do take care of the interior, but it's also, hey, now you're dealing with a lot of office people in business. And that was really like my comfort zone as well. But you do then manage like lobbies and you make those look nice. You have some common area bathrooms, things like that. It also is pretty accounting intensive. And one of the things that I did when I was by BM, I was somewhat known as kind of a spreadsheet jockey sometimes. And I love pro formas and things like that. So, but in commercial real estate, it's a lot about the budget. And that's what we talk a lot about too. Our budget is our master plan. It's our marching orders to go out there. So we're always creating really tight budgets and looking at how we're tracking at that. So that financial aspect of it has also been a strength of our company, and it has also helped us grow. And it's something that I enjoy quite a bit as well too. So let's look at those numbers, seeing how we're always increasing the NOI, right? It comes down to the NOI, making sure that's great.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to take a moment to emphasize this part of the commercial side being more of a professional environment and more of a comfort zone, especially as I mentioned to you before we got rolling here. The listeners are tech professionals. They're working for bigger companies. Anyone who has a bigger tech budget, who is going to have professionals that are thinking about it at scale, right? And so forth. And how that translates over to you here for this example. At the same time, I also wanted to ask, because we're talking about that comfort zone you had and transferable skills, what things did you, that's something you learned, but what things did you have to unlearn maybe from things that were working in a company like IBM, or forget IBM, working in corporate environment, to kind of going out and doing this on your own with your now wife, a couple at the time?
Yeah, I don't know if it's unlearned or really learned for the first time, but I'd say one of the things that helped me a lot, and I mentioned hiring my first property manager, and she was great. And I learned a lot from her, and we kind of grew as a company from that. But my first hirings were a lot around, hey, I just need people that know this business, right? That they understand how to do it. And so anybody, I've been doing this 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, great, come on in. When we really started doing well, and I'm not sure if this is what you're asking or what you're looking for here, but when we really kicked it off and started doing well was when we said, you know what? It's not just about knowing what to do. Because really, and now that I've been in real estate for these 17, 18 years now and full on, it's not hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not too hard. And what we look for is a certain culture. And that's around like intelligent people. They want to learn. They have like energy, and they're just excited about real estate and ready to do it and want to jump in. And then I honestly feel like we can teach anybody how to do it. Now, we still hire people that have some experience. Like if you're accounting, we need people know accounting. If we need a property manager, you have to have done property management. But we hire much more around that culture now than we do around the actual knowledge, and we do tons of training. So we're always like teaching our people about real estate and really about like, how does an owner look at the property? And we need to look at it the same way.
Okay, I got you. So the emphasis there, it's not unlearn, but learn for the first time, because you have this new space. And like you said, it's not so much like the what isn't so difficult as you kind of understand the environment, but it's doing it well, which is why I thought it was so apt right here about that talk you did about operational excellence as well. And 3 months ago, I'm looking at this LinkedIn post. You have big moves require big teamwork. This year, our word is teamwork, and it's more than a buzzword. Recently, we closed not one, but two major acquisitions, and the kind of success that only happens when every part of the team that works together. Some shout outs here. Next up, accounting. And that's a team sport too. I love that. Did you ever think acquisitions would be something you'd be doing here too?
No. That simple answer, no. I thought that was something like big companies did too. And I guess we're getting there. We still have a ways to go. But the first one, I got an email and they just said, hey, this commercial real estate company is selling and we're looking for bidders. And I was like, but it looked kind of spam, honestly. I was like, what is this? And then I talked to my wife about it because we talked about stuff. And I was like, maybe I need to just give him a call and see what's going on. And I just think about it. And about a week had gone by and I was like, let me reach out and see what's happening here. But before I did that, I got another email that said, hey, listen, Aaron, these people really want to sell to you. Oh. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here. And it was Zell Commercial that we acquired, and Alan Zell, who's one of the toughest negotiators you'll ever deal with. We kind of thought we'd close in about 2 or 3 months. And then 7 months later, we're still kind of working out some of the details, but it happened. And I think it's one of the greatest things we did. It brought in some great talent and really started elevating us in the marketplace. And like it put us on the map in a lot of ways. When we got to about 100 properties at that point, and it just was a lot of fun. And Alan Zell in his 70s now, he's actually still in the office right over here by me. So we talk all the time about plans and strategies and how do we do great things in real estate overall.
Any relation to Sam Zell?
No, actually, no. But he does get that question some, yes.
I mean, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's cool. Unpack that for us a little bit here. That was a no on acquisitions, but here you went through it. How did that go? You talked to us a little bit about how you became aware of it. And it was like, well, maybe, you know, but did you have someone, was it the buy side guys who walked you through the process? Did you hire your own stuff? How did you get smart on acquisitions? How did you get comfortable with it and through it?
So they had, Alan actually had hired what would you call it? Like a business sales person, guy. He helps people buy and sell businesses. So they did a bunch of analysis and they sent us over their numbers. And so I was like, well, this has potential here. And we were actually taking a flight, and I think we were going out to Hawaii at the time. And the Hawaii flight's about 6 hours. And I spent that entire time putting a spreadsheet together of all of their data and all of our data, and saying, how does our data all match up? And that was somewhat of the foundation of, hey, there's a lot of potential here of what we could do with this company. A part of what I learned and what has been interesting in real estate overall, and I'm not sure if this applies to every city or Phoenix, but I think it happens a lot. This was all happening a little bit after COVID, right? And there's a lot of companies out there, and I kind of mentioned how, hey, people normally start up. I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a property manager. I'm going to start my own business. So when they do that, over time, they're not always thinking about technology. They're not able to keep up on that. And then also wages were going up. A lot of changes were happening. People were starting to do these Teams and Zooms calls all the time. And some of these older companies just really, I don't know, they're like, I don't know what's going on now. There's just too much happening. There's too much change going on. I don't know how to deal with all of these. The costs are going up. And so there's a lot of opportunity out there, I find. And that's why I think we will do more acquisitions. There's opportunity out there to take these companies and say, listen, we've been doing this for a while. We're very tech forward. We're very process driven. We have a lot of talented people. Now we can bring in what you're doing in these properties and do it more efficiently and probably even better. And the clients are going to be happy and stay. And it's an opportunity for us to really grow. And it's like a win-win for everybody.
That's cool, dude. Very cool. And congratulations, not on that one, but two. And so,
yeah, well, we actually did our third one just recently. Too, so we're up to 3 now.
I was about to ask, has this become a core part of the strategy, grow through acquisitions then?
Sure. Well, if you ask my VP of accounting, I'm not allowed to do anymore because it was really hard. But yes, I think as we kind of work through this we did 2 acquisitions in just a few month period. And that all kind of wrapped up about 4 months ago now. So we're kind of working through it. But yeah, as we kind of integrate the people, the culture, the clients, and get it all running smoothly. For me, I believe it comes down to just doing great service, right? If you're really providing what your client needs, if you have employees that love doing their job and they're trained well and it's a great environment to work in, and all of those things really make you successful. And if you're just doing that, you'll make money. And so it's not necessarily about getting as big as we can possibly get. It's about doing something that I'm really proud of and excited to come to every day, and excited with the people I'm going to work with every day. And then great things happen. They just do. And yeah. And I'll tell you, we have over 50 employees now. And now when I come in, people will be like, hey, I just talked to this person and I think we're going to get this deal. And I just got this thing done. And now we just made our client a lot more money. And I'm like, it used to be, I was kind of leading everything. And it almost felt like it wouldn't happen unless I was pushing it. Now things just happen, and it's an exciting place to be.
Yeah. And if you're listening and not watching, definitely come over and see Aaron and his smiles. You can hear the energy in his voice too. But I've got to ask here, right? You're talking about this growth, the growth through acquisition, the third one, and how quote unquote things are happening, right? How many Go back to pre-acquisition. How big of a team were you? And then you're at around 50 now.
So we got up to about, I think it was like 17 or so on our own, 17, 18 people. We did the Zelle acquisition. We got up and we're close to 30, where I think we're kind of like high 20s, 30s. At that time, we really started to get a lot of people interested in us. And so we got into the 30s just from then organic growth, because we're having signs all over. People like, hey, I see your signs everywhere. And so the organic growth got us into our third, like mid to high 30s. And now, like, I think we're actually probably on the property management team around like 55 or so. And that's with the last two acquisitions, and also just continue to have organic growth. That's important too.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So the question is, how have you changed here? Well, what are you focusing on more of now? You're talking about things happening. It's true. And part of that is growth through properties, through people, et cetera. But I would imagine, and you're the business strategy guy here. So are you looking to learn different things? Are you thinking about how you can focus on culture and stuff like that more? Where is your headspace on this now, and how are you seeing yourself focus on growth?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about people. And whether it's our employees and our culture and training our people, that kind of thing, or our clients. I just go and meet clients and talking about how things are going and what are they trying to do with their investments and what are their goals and how can we help them with that. So it's gone from kind of working at the old adage of working in the business to on the business is where I'm going. But beyond looking back all these years, I never really thought of myself doing that. But now it's my favorite part. It's really enjoyable.
Is the team growth you were talking about, is this cover across the board? Like you were talking about how you're doing the management, the property management side of things, and your wife, Rochelle, is doing the leasing side. Is this for both sides of the house, or is this mostly on the property management side?
Mostly on the property management side, although, our brokerage definitely has grown as well, particularly when we did the Zelle acquisition. It grew quite a bit, but it's been a little more steady. And I think for us on the brokerage side, part of it is I found my strength kind of like in a little more like the hiring people and the operations processes and all that kind of stuff. And on the brokerage side, it's grown some, but it's been a little more focused on just how does that still help our clients that we manage in a lot of ways. And also we do separate brokerage outside of management, but a lot of it's focused on that, just really taking care of our clients. And it hasn't grown as much as the property management side.
Got you. No worries.
Yeah.
So technology, talk to us about, you're still excited about technology, still bringing it in. You have a quick note on privacy and AI. What happens with your AI conversations? So talk to us about, how do you think about technology in the sense of, is it still exciting for you, or is it like, oh man, things are moving so fast. What are we going to do with this? And how are you bringing that in?
It is moving fast. And sometimes it blows my mind. As I was growing up and working at IBM and everything, we'd talk about how fast technology is going. And now that was slow. That was like turtle's pace, right? With AI and everything. And for me, I think there's two aspects to it that I'd look at. Like AI, everybody talks about AI. I think that's one of the biggest things, obviously, when you think about technology today, right? One is, how does that impact our company internally? We're all using like ChatGPT or Copilot is really what we use through Microsoft mostly. And it helps out a lot, right? It helps us be more efficient. We can read leases. We process thousands of invoices every month. And now AI does that for us. AI does all the code and everything. We'll just kind of check it, make sure it's good.
Yep.
Right. And so it definitely, and we're doing more and more of that, of abstracting leases, doing whatever we need to do with AI. And that's growing. That helps us as a business. And I think it becomes a competitive edge, particularly when we look at kind of the smaller businesses that we compete against. CBREs and the big guys are doing these things too, but like the small, medium business, a lot of them aren't. So we're still technology forward on that. I'll go back a little bit though you kind of brought up RETCon, the Real Estate Technology Conference in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was on the board with the asset managers and moderating that panel. And that came up, obviously, AI and what's happening. And for asset managers, it's a big deal, right? A lot of what asset managers do is they help their clients understand acquisitions, dispositions, what should they do with their property, how do they add value, all those things. And I thought it was very interesting as we spoke about it. And they said, listen, right now, a lot of them are using AI to kind of validate their assumptions. So they may find a property They run all the numbers. They say, hey, here's what we think the value is. Here's what we think we can do with it.
Mhm.
And now let's run it. Let's dump all that into AI and see what it thinks.
Mhm.
Right. And okay, yeah, I came up with the same thing, or I had some other interesting ideas, things we should think about, right? So maybe some risks there that we weren't really thinking about. But over the next couple of years, and all of them said this, it's going to flip.
Yes.
AI is going to do all the analysis. And then a human will just kind of look at it and say, oh, well, what do I think of the AI analysis? Right.
Yep.
And that's where it's really going. AI is going to do that. And then so we said, hey, okay, if that happens, so what's everybody's differentiator? Let's say everybody has access to all this data and AI can analyze everything and pull data from everywhere. How do we differentiate ourselves? How is my analysis any different from yours, different from that guy's? We're all coming up with the same things we can do. And the answer that all of us really kind of came back with was it comes back to people.
Yeah.
It comes back to relationships. And if you think about it, you say, okay, if I think this property is worth 20 million, and I can buy it for that, whatever. How can I do something different than this guy can? Maybe it's because I know some tenants that can move in there. Maybe I have great relationship with the GCs that can help me do better TI, fix the outside. Or maybe I know a great management company like Capital Asset Management, CAMCRE, that we go by, and maybe they can help me manage it better. So it comes back to those relationships and what can I do differently, I can come up with the same analysis, but what can I actually make happen differently than somebody else can make happen?
I'm so glad that you went that route because that's naturally my follow-up question, right? Which is, what are you doing about bringing in technology? But the point to that is I'm working with AWS right now, right? As an architect, engineer, et cetera. And I've helped to build data centers around the world. I'm on the front lines of working with customers and partners as well to integrate AI, and it flattens. It is a great denominator, right? And so, what is that differentiator? And that idea of people and having relationships is what the differentiator was. Is what I wanted to pick your brain on because you have this growth, right? And that's great because that brings force multipliers of so many things. But also, what are you doing to continue to keep that differentiation? And as you had pointed out, some of those insights and lessons that you pulled from Retcon as well. And network and community and people seem to be some of those we would call a differentiator.
Exactly. It's about the people. And I'll add a little more to that. I kind of mentioned a little bit how we worked on one of the biggest FDIC pools during the Great Recession and all that. And those people that we worked with then are still some partners that we have on investments that we do now. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big believer, partners can be tough. You're not always going to agree, but I am a big believer in partners for a couple of reasons. They help you solve problems, right? One of the biggest issues that I find when you do an investment with even some of our clients or other people that run into is having enough cash to do the things you want to do. So partners can really help in that. And they also have ideas, right? It's great to have somebody to talk to. What do you think we should do with this property? And we're all in it together. And it also allows you to diversify a little bit more. So like most of the investments we do were anywhere from 20 to 50%. We have done some on our own as well, but we mostly work with other people when we do it. And that allows us to do more investments. And if something happens to that investment, it's not all on us just to say, hey, how do we make this? How do we fix this problem? All of us partners to get together and we say, hey, we'll all pitch in to fix this problem. Here's a solution and here's the resources to do it as well. And maybe they know other people, maybe they know other GCs or whoever that can help make that happen. So I'm a big believer. And then you kind of brought up my team quote. I love team. We're all about team. It's not always easy being part of a team, but I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah, collaboration. Right? From that perspective. I don't know if there's a book, Never Eat Alone. He's got a whole series of them. Keith Ferrazzi. One of the word co-elevate is something used a lot in this case. Like you're talking about your partners are working with people. If it were easy, but really bring a lot of wonderful things for growth as well. I know I got for a little bit longer here, so I want to close up and tie this back to your origin story here, or at least as we open this, which is looking back over these last 17 years and kind of thinking about that and the people that are listening that are maybe still in job right now, right? What lessons do you think that you would pass on to think people are thinking about getting into real estate or just things that maybe that could be one part of it, or what are some big lessons that you would tell your younger self kind of thing? I'm giving you some options. You can pick any of these, right?
Yeah, throwing the wide net out there, huh?
Yeah. And so ideally, it'd be along those lines of if people are interested in real estate, do you think it's better to see if they can do something on that commercial side than residential? I kind of pause here and
Yeah.
or I can give some more context, whatever you need.
Well, that's pretty broad, but I like it. I love commercial. I think that's where it's at more than residential. Although I think a lot of it comes down to also what you know. Do what you know and have a passion for, and that helps out a lot. And that's one of my main advices to people too, is kind of along that is be curious. I always tell like younger people that, investors, whatever, be curious on whatever. And I feel like sometimes, I mean, it seems like obvious. Yeah, okay, I'm curious. I'm not interested. But a lot of people don't like to ask questions because I feel like if you ask a question, it means you don't know, right? And people go, oh, I don't want other people to know I don't know. Who then does know is the person who asks the question, and then they get the answer, and now they know.
Yes.
So be curious. And I also say that goes to like real estate investing overall. When I think about what we look for, investments and everything, people often talk about value add. There's a lot of different types of investments, right? But value add is like one of the big ones, right? And I hear people throw it around like, hey, can you find me value add properties and value add? But what does that really mean, right? That means like there's some kind of opportunity there. Something's like wrong with that property that you can maybe fix, right? So, and when you look at that, you need to really understand what that problem is. Let's say the rents are a little bit below market. Why are they below market? Is it because maybe it's an unsophisticated owner and they just don't know what the right rent should be? Maybe they're very friendly with their tenants and so they just give them great deals, or they don't have great management and leasing that doesn't do the right thing for them. But it may also be that because that property is set back a little bit off the main road and the visibility is a little bit rough. So I always say I love problems that I can fix.
Yeah.
So if you have to understand what the issue is and where can you really add value to that property and see if you can fix it or not, if it's something that we think we can do something about. So be curious about that property, about that investment, be curious in life, and it'll take you a long ways.
I think that's the secret, right? Just kind of be curious and follow that curiosity. And it sometimes sounds so, I don't know, so basic.
Sounds a little mundane or simple, but it really, like so many people don't, I find in a way.
Yeah.
Continuous learning. We're always just all learning.
Yep. It might be I'm having a look at your values: communication, integrity, collaboration, operational excellence, innovation, and client focus. Maybe something like be curious is another one for you and the team.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot. Yeah, definitely. Maybe I need to add to my value list, but yeah.
What are you excited about next? I mean, you're excited about a lot of stuff here. It sounds like stabilizing and seeing what the team can do as well, how you can continue to deliver for customers, for your community probably as well after this third acquisition. But kind of forward looking there, what are you excited to see what can happen next, maybe with your team?
Yeah, so you did hit it a little bit there. I love that kind of, we're like stabilizing, we're really like dialing things in as a company on what we're doing and all the properties and new clients and everything building. That's obviously the most important thing, right? But look for like kind of towards the end of this year and the next year into those kind of things. I love what AI is doing, and we think about how that can help us. And for us as a company, one way I look at it is taking that step a little more. And we're doing this some already, but being not just that manager and that leasing agent, but also that kind of asset manager for our clients. Part of it is using AI that can help us do more of those things for them in a faster way. We have a lot of clients, a lot of properties. And I think the really interesting thing that I see in the Phoenix market, and maybe people are experiencing other places too, I think they are, is you see a retail center that suddenly that somebody builds a new one, and not building a whole lot of them, but they're starting to build them. And that's getting like maybe $50 a square foot in rents or $60 a square foot in rents. And same with an office building. Not many of those are going up, but when they go up, they're like, hey, all of a sudden this guy's getting 60 or something. And then just down the street, somebody is getting 25 or maybe 30. All right. It's a little bit older of a building or whatever, but I start to look at our portfolio and our clients and even my investments and say, okay, how can I take what we have right now And maybe it's not going to be brand new and get us up to that 50 or 60, but maybe we get up to 40, 45. So how do we reposition that asset to get to those higher rents? Because of inflation and other factors in the market, people are willing to pay that now, but you need a property that reflects that and is able to get it. So that's one thing we're looking at with a lot of our clients. I think that's a very exciting thing to say, okay, it doesn't make sense for every property, but there's a lot of properties out there that have those kind of opportunities associated with them.
Yeah. Most definitely, man. Again, just chatting with you, I can see your excitement. This again, talk about technology being future facing, and what you were talking about earlier too, those insights from retcon of flipping the model, not human first and validation, but AI first, human validated, or quote unquote, kind of human in the loop, right? Aspect of it here too, because it is, especially as technology continues to go to all other businesses. It's like it's no longer just the PC or the laptop or smart stuff inside of your office, but it's in front of you, around you, smartphone, everything else. It's going to be the ones that are integrating this stuff that are really going to be the differentiators, including wonderful service, human to human, and all those relationships too. Best of luck and success for you guys.
Great talking to you. Let me know if you ever want to chat again. I'm here for you.
Totally. Where can people find you? I mentioned your LinkedIn a couple times, but
sure. Yeah. Our website's CAMCRE.com, Capital Asset Management, Commercial Real Estate. I'm on LinkedIn, and people reach out. Let me know if you ever want to talk. We're here to help you. We're here to help our clients do better things in investing.
Sounds good. And I'll make sure those are in the show notes as well. Appreciate your time, Aaron. Thank you.
Thanks, Steven.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Path to Passive. We love connecting with our listeners and those on the path to architecting their wealth and improving their lives. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see in the future episodes. Get in touch with us through email or Instagram. See you next week for a new episode.